Here's me all happy and cocky, thinking that I did a good job fixing this computer. And there's a video of me frustrated in the background. So stay tuned if you want to see more of this. So just a couple hours ago, I was looking online, came across this PC, and I was like, man, this thing's pretty cool. It has a GPU in it that I really want as part of my collection. This is actually the original Asus Poseidon. It has a pretty sweet Asus TUF board. This is I believe, a 3rd gen Intel board. This would be a Z87 TUF, I believe, I'm pretty sure. The guy wanted $250, and then he mentioned, it was worth $1,100. And so I reached out to him, and I told him that in a good condition, that computer probably would only be worth about like $300. And then he asked me to fix it. And he said, would I be interested in fixing it? And I said, I would be interested in just buying it if you want to get rid of it for really cheap. And he was like, yeah, $75, you can take it. And I was like, wow, that almost feels like too good of a deal. So I offered $100 square if he wants to deliver it. And so he dropped it off, and it is currently behind me. And there's one thing, as you could tell by the ad, if you looked at it, it actually said it wasn't in working condition, so it's not posting. We're gonna go through that in this video today. We're gonna see why it's not posting. Regardless, even if the GPU is bad, I don't care. I just want it for my collection to throw up on the wall. All right, guys, so buying this computer was a little bit of a risk because he didn't really know anything about it. Clearly, it's missing some stuff. It's missing all these little pieces for this case. It's missing the top mesh here. It's missing the entire back panel. So this case is pretty much trash, in my opinion. You can see a few things back here. Looks like we got an 800 watt Strike power supply, which I actually don't know what brand that is. Strike, gonna have to look that up. Kingston 120 gigabyte, which is not great, to be honest. And then there is a hard drive in here, which I'm not going to rip out just in case we can turn this on. Obviously someone's gonna have their own Windows loaded on it. Who knows, maybe they refreshed it or something. But he says it does not turn on and does not have an image out. So hopefully that's not actually the GPU, because that would really suck. There's a few other things that are missing, like the IO shield back here is completely gone. If I can get the side panel off. All right, so we got a deep cooler I've never seen before. This is actually kind of unique. We have some Elite memory sticks. This is by Team Group. It's 4 gigs of DDR3, so we only have 8 gigs of memory in here, which is a little disappointing. I'm already seeing one problem. I'm actually going to show you guys right away before I power this up. So if you take a look at that power connector right here, it's actually not fully in, and that was like that. So maybe it bumped out during the ride, but I kind of doubt it because it's actually not incorrect. You actually have to pull this out first and then clip this here. So if this is the only problem with this computer, I'm gonna be mind blown. It is really dirty and stuff, so we will take it out and do a nice cleaning on it. Let's see if it boots actually with this fix, this little fix, and then we'll look at the rest of the computer. All right, before I hit the power button, let's just check a few things. We got a green light on the board, so that's good. And we have 2 green lights here, so that means good for the power for the GPU. He did mention when we were talking earlier that there was actually a green and a red light, so now I'm wondering if this is slightly out, does this turn red? No, it does not. Okay, so I don't know, maybe the plug fell out during the ride, but let's power it up. Got a little bit of dusty dust back there. Okay, so far no image out. This card, as much as I love this card, let's fix this focus here. It's got some really bad sag. Look at that sag, Jesus. So that's fixable. I'm really hoping it's not the card that's dead, but yeah, let's take it out and throw a different card in just to see what happens. If I had this card back a couple years ago when I was a youngster, I would have been flaunting it so much. This is like one of the absolute coolest cards, and it's never been opened, so maybe some thermal paste is needed. And then, oh my God, look at how dirty. I'm gonna have to do a close up here. Yeah, so this is really, really dirty. A few people mentioned in the last video, they were like, oh, that dumpster PC was really clean. Yeah, it was. I think somebody probably cleaned it before they threw it out, probably because they were trying to fix it. I'm throwing in this GTX 1060 to see if it'll work. But before I put this in, I actually want to test the power supply. All right, we got the tester hooked up, so let's just give it some power. And everything looks pretty good, so we're gonna pop this GPU in, and I actually really hope it's not the GPU. As cool as this motherboard is, I kinda hope it's the motherboard. All right, so here comes the probably bad part. The 1060 is in the computer and everything's hooked back up. So theoretically, of course. Theoretically, once I put the power back on, hitting this button is probably going to get us a post. And if it does, I'm gonna be pretty sad because this is really why I bought the computer, but I cannot complain too much. So let's see if this posts. Yeah. That kind of sucks. So most likely this card is dead. I am going to clean it up and wipe the thermal paste, and we'll retest it in a couple of minutes. Let me do a few things with this computer first, and then we will jump to that. I was actually trying to see if there was Windows running on this machine, and it looks like, you can tell me if I'm wrong, I don't know if it's Russian or Ukrainian. I guess they would be very similar. I'm gonna really make myself sound stupid here, but we did get a 3770K, which is freaking sick. That's an awesome CPU. It makes up for if the video card is dead. So I figured out the BIOS really quick, and then now we're jumping into like what looks like some automatic repair mode thing, but this is in Russian as well. So this is a most likely either a Russian computer or a computer that was built by a Russian here. Yeah, so I'm not gonna get any further with this. Let's go fix the card. So we're gonna take this card apart pretty quickly and just get an idea of what's going on with it. I don't need to go crazy. We're gonna clean it later, of course, but I just wanna see if maybe there's some paste issues or if we can identify any areas where potentially like something has maybe blown up. It really looks like nothing has ever been removed on this card, which is a good and bad sign. At this point in its life, it should have definitely been repasted. So my guess is, with this block being a semi-hollow block for water, like if you take these caps off here, this is where the thread is for a water fitting, like a water cooling fitting. And yeah, so most likely if they didn't use these and they didn't repaste it, it probably started to overheat. And you can also see that it's pretty bent. And a lot of these older Asus cards, especially like the Strix 970 and some of the older like 7 series stuff, they really had a hard time with their sag. They would sag so much. These were kind of big cards even back in the day. So I know by today's standard, they look tiny. Oh, look at those pads, pink pads. And oddly enough, the paste doesn't look too that bad. It's honestly really not that bad at all. It's like still kind of wet. All right, so I've cleaned up the card. Let's just try it again. I am so happy right now, you have no idea. Damn. Look guys, it posted. I was actually really worried. I really thought that would not work. Wow, you know, so I put this little like thing here to support the card's weight. It seems to still be fine. Damn, that's so sick. This is like the best win for $100 to get this card and a working PC. I'm so happy right now, so. I'll probably, yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm really happy. All right, guys, I want to actually take this all apart. Good old blower here. So we're gonna use that, clean it all out. I might actually take this motherboard shroud cover off and paint it white. I think this board looks really cool when it's all white. And we'll throw it in a new case and possibly give it like a new cooler and a few other things. Obviously the video card, I'm gonna keep that as part of my collection, but we'll figure out a different video card to put in that will work with this 3770K. Take this whole thing apart and clean it out. All right, guys, let me show you where I have stopped. This is my progress. All of this has been cleaned, including those fans, which I'm pretty happy. Those are RGB fans, got lucky with that one. And the case. So this was actually something I probably was gonna throw out. And luckily I was able to clean it up pretty good. Could definitely use it for a budget PC. Again, it's missing the back panel, but I think I have a case upstairs in my attic that has a broken glass that has the same chassis, and I can probably use that back and paint it black, or I don't know, something like that. As for the motherboard, I actually think that this came out pretty good. It's again, Z77, and I painted the thermal armor white, so it'll match the white case. And we're gonna actually jump to that right now, and we're gonna do a quick throw together of this build. All right, guys, I had to stop this video for a little bit, and I kind of really didn't know where I was going with this whole cooler thing. So you guys are probably wondering why the cooler is in that orientation. Well, unfortunately, this board was kind of a little bit too ahead of its time, and no matter what I do with any of my tower coolers, if I want to orientate it the correct direction, it bumps into this saber tooth thing here. And I even went and tried these other two coolers. I have this Deep Cool and Cooler Master. It's pissing me off that it's like not in the correct orientation. It's not that you can't run a cooler like this, you totally can. And if you have the heat going out the top, it actually will run very well. But it just looks like crap, and because this is a looks focused build, I just couldn't let it go. So I ended up picking up this AIO. It's brand new, old stock from EVGA, and I did a little paint job on this. This is almost like a looks like almost like a Rebel logo or something from Star Wars. And then the other thing is the video card. I kind of threw around some ideas of painting a Gigabyte card white, and ultimately I'm going to end up putting this Strix RX 580 in there. This is an 8GB model, but that is going to be to sell. I want to test the system with the original specs that the guy had given me, because we pretty much kept everything the same except for the power supply, and that was only because I wanted to keep that power supply for another build. But everything else in here has been pretty much identical to what the original specs were. We did upgrade the RAM a little bit. And of course, the cooler is a, I don't know, similar cooler. It's not the exact Deep Cool giant cooler that was in there at the beginning. But this is kind of the point of this video. Like, when you get into flipping PCs, you'll end up with tons of stock from all these mismatched parts. And a lot of times, like, you can make a PC look really good without really having to go out and spend a ton of money. Pretty much all the money I've spent is on just the case, the buy itself from Facebook, and then just little things like paint and all that other stuff. Alright guys, in the background here I have the PC in question, and I was just getting ready to start doing benchmarks and stuff. And as you see, the screen will turn on and everything looks like it'll be good, but no matter what I do, that graphics card will end up black screening. And essentially what's happening is there's probably something wrong with the die. My guess is that as time has gone on, the card sag has, and yeah, you can see it just turned off right now. The card sag has, oh, wow, I actually made it a little further, but I can guarantee within a few seconds the screen will go black and it will not come back on. I have tried drivers, I've tried a different power supply again, I swapped all sorts of stuff, and I threw the Strix, and I threw this 1650 Super in here, and it worked for a good amount of time. Of course, now it's working longer than it has in a while. So I'm recording over this last part. It's been a few days now. I messed around with this card a ton. I really cannot get it to work. Things like just turning it on, sometimes I'll get a black screen and it won't go to Windows. Here in a moment you'll see also, if you do get it to turn on, the screen will often turn gray or start to artifact, which many times means that there is probably something wrong with the chip itself or the memory modules, and I'm not going to spend the time to actually desolder the memory and fix this card. It's really just something to sit on the shelf. I was kind of hoping it was going to work, but I don't know, a little bit sad. If you guys want to see me try to fix this in another video by doing like a classic, I don't know, oven baking method, then we can try to fix it. And yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another one. Peace.